Most people are taught to play it safe. Stick to what you know. Stay in your lane. But what if that thinking is wrong? What if the real key to success isn't about following the rules, but breaking them carefully and intentionally? This video is about powerful mindsets that successful people have used to grow their multi-million-dollar businesses. I am going to show you 6 powerful mindsets you need to have before you start a business. And no, this isn't just another piece of motivation. These are proven strategies that have helped in growing successful businesses. Remember to pay extra attention to number 5, as it might be the missing piece to securing your multi-million-dollar business. Mindset 1. Possibility mindset. So, this is a fundamental mindset for entrepreneurs and businessmen. First, this mindset goes against the usual best practices that big companies follow today. They go against much of what is taught at the London Business School and other business schools about strategy, marketing, risk, and more. Now you might ask, what do you mean by possibility mindset? First, a mindset is, of course, something in our head, right? It's things like attitudes, habits, thoughts, and the way we usually think, which, when something happens, lead us to react in a certain way. And those somethings, as we entrepreneurs call them, are opportunities. Now, the first strategy in the business school strategy teaches that in a company, we should stick to what we know best. We need to find out what we're really good at, which we call core competencies, and then build on them, invest in them, support them, and make them stronger. And if someone comes and asks, "Can you do something different that's not what you usually do?" what should we say? "No, I'm sorry, we don't do that here." Well, a Brazilian entrepreneur named Arnold Correa built a great business now called Atmo Digital by ignoring those rules. He had already changed his business twice to become a big provider of event management and production services when one of his customers said, "You know, I have 260 stores spread all over Brazil, and Brazil is a very big country, and I'd like to broadcast training and motivational events to the stores in real time. So, Arnold, can we put televisions in the training rooms of all my stores and build a satellite uplink so we can send this great content to the stores?" So what did he say? He said, yes, we could do that, even though he knew nothing about satellite technology and had never worked outside São Paulo. But he made it happen. That was the possibility mindset working. Then, a few years later, some other customers said, "It's nice that we have all these TVs in the back room of the store, but wouldn't it be great if we had them on the sales floor? Then we could run ads. So when a customer walks down the aisle with the detergent, there's an ad for Procter & Gamble's detergent in that aisle." And what did Arnold say to that request? Yes, we can do that. Over several years, Arnold completely changed his business 4 different times with the possibility mindset. Mindset 2. Solution-based mindset. Successful entrepreneurs don't begin with a fancy idea. They start with a real problem, something that affects many people and causes real pain or frustration. Then they ask, how can I fix this? This simple shift in thinking makes all the difference. When you solve a real problem, customers come to you. You don't have to force your product into their lives. They welcome it. Why? Because it makes their life easier. If you're thinking of starting something, stop asking, what can I sell? Start asking, what problem can I solve? Look around you. What frustrates people? What wastes their time? What makes their day harder? That's where opportunity hides. Let me tell you a story about Jonathan Thorne. He developed a new kind of technology that turned out to be very helpful. The tool he focused on is called a surgical forceps, something almost every surgeon uses in every type of surgery. But there's a common problem with forceps. They stick to human tissue, which could affect how the patient looks afterward. It could also frustrate the surgeon and slow things down. Jonathan saw that as a problem. He thought, I can fix this. He created a new silver-nickel alloy that made the forceps non-stick. However, when he began selling to plastic surgeons, the business didn't grow very quickly. So Jonathan asked himself, is there another type of surgery where this problem is even bigger? That's when he found neurosurgeons. And neurosurgeons operate on 2 of the most delicate areas of the body, the spine and the brain. If a surgeon is removing a small tumor from your brain, you definitely don't want forceps that stick to tissue because every single brain cell matters. Jonathan's idea turned into a great business. Eventually, he sold the company to a big medical firm, which was happy to acquire it. Jonathan and his investors were very happy too. Why did it work? Because Jonathan didn't start with a product. He started with a problem and then built the product to fix it. And that's how successful entrepreneurs think and act. They don't start by thinking about the product, they start by looking for a problem. Let me tell you another story about Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx. Before becoming one of the youngest self-made female billionaires, Sarah worked selling fax machines door to door. One day, while getting dressed for a party, she wanted the smooth look of shapewear, but found everything available was bulky, uncomfortable, or just ineffective. Out of desperation, she cut the feet off her control-top pantyhose so she could wear them under her white pants without visible seams. It worked, and more importantly, it solved a problem that millions of women were silently struggling with. Sarah didn't have a background in fashion or manufacturing, but she had something more important, a clear problem that needed a better solution. She built Spanx from her apartment, patented her invention, and eventually saw her product featured by Oprah Winfrey, leading to massive sales growth. Spanx became a massive brand because it wasn't built on hype. It was built on solving a real, relatable problem. Whether you're planning to launch a tech startup, a service business, a side hustle, or even a nonprofit, start with the problem. Don't get distracted by shiny features or trendy buzzwords. Look for things that genuinely annoy or burden people. What do they hate doing? What wastes their time or money? What's broken, slow, outdated, or frustrating? When you begin with empathy, when you focus on fixing something that truly matters, customers won't just buy your solution. They'll thank you for it. You could take a minute to let me know in the comments if any of these mindsets resonated with you, and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Mindset 3. Narrow market mindset. Most entrepreneurs only want to go after big markets. They want products that can make big money right away. That's why they often ignore small or narrow markets. They think it's not worth their time. But successful entrepreneurs think differently. They understand that starting small can be a smart move. A narrow market might seem too small at first, but it's often where the biggest ideas begin. Why? Because when you focus on a small group of people with a real need, you can create a better solution just for them. You get to understand their problems deeply. You learn what works and what doesn't. You grow stronger as a business by serving them well. And once you do that, something powerful happens. You build skills, trust, and a great product. Then, when you're ready, you can move into bigger markets. You already know how to solve problems. You already have fans, and that makes it easier to grow. Starting small doesn't mean thinking small. It means being smart. It means building something great before trying to go big. Many of the world's biggest companies started by solving a problem for a small group of people. Like John Thorne, Philip Knight, and Bill Bowerman, when they founded Nike, a company we all know very well today, had identified a problem. But it was a problem that a very narrow target market had. Phil Knight was a distance runner, and he could run almost not quite a 4-minute mile. Bill Bowerman was his track coach. There was a problem with their shoes because running shoes in those days were really made for sprinters. And when sprinters train, they run around the track. It's a nice, smooth track. Distance runners don't run around tracks. Where do they run? They run on country paths and dirt roads, and they're always stepping on sticks and rocks, and so they get sprained ankles. And they run mile after mile and get shin splints. Well, Knight and Bowerman said, we need better shoes, shoes that are made especially for distance runners, especially elite distance runners, who really train a whole lot. So we're going to build a better shoe that's going to have better lateral stability, a wider footbed. It's going to have a little more cushioning in it to protect against those shin splints. And by the way, if it's a little bit lighter weight, a few ounces lighter, times all the steps in running a mile, or a 2-mile, or a marathon, it's going to make for faster race times too. So we know what happened with Nike, right? Once they developed the skills to design shoes explicitly made for a target market, a narrow one, and once they learned to import those shoes from Asia, and once they learned to get athletes to adopt those shoes, what did they do? Well, they are the first choice for many of the famous athletes, and we know what the story is with Nike today. They're the global leader in athletic footwear and much more. Mindset 4. Ask for the money early. For entrepreneurs, cash is everything. Without it, nothing moves. You can't build a product, hire people, or grow your idea. That's why smart entrepreneurs think differently about cash. They go out and get it early. Instead of waiting for the perfect product or a finished factory, they start by selling the idea. They find people who believe in what they're building and ask them to pay up front. This isn't a trick. It's a smart way to fund your vision without giving away control or taking on heavy debt. Selling before building gives you a head start. It gives you the cash you need to create. It proves there's real demand for your idea, and it builds excitement around what you're doing. This mindset has helped some of the most successful ventures take off. When you get paid before delivering, you don't just have an idea anymore, you have a business. The best part is that early cash can carry you through the hardest parts of your journey. You can use it to design, test, and improve before the real launch. This is what we call riding the float, using customer money now to build what they'll receive later. For example, when Musk joined Tesla, he asked the team, "What's the plan?" Their answer was to build a fancy electric sports car, use the profits from that to build a slightly cheaper car, and then use the profits from that to make an affordable, mass-market car. The end goal? Reduce global car emissions and help the planet. So Musk's next move was simple. Let's go try to sell some cars. They went on a small roadshow in California and invited a very specific group of people. Firstly, the people who cared about the environment, the people who were wealthy, and the people who liked being ahead of the trend. It worked. They sold 100 Tesla Roadsters for $100,000 each, cash up front. That's $10 million in the bank before they even built the first car. This idea of collecting money early stayed with Tesla. Years later, when they announced the Model 3, nearly 500,000 people each paid $1,000 to reserve one. That's $500 million in cash before production even began. They used that money to do engineering, build the factory, and get ready for mass production without borrowing or giving up equity. Early money is not just fuel, it's proof, it's momentum, and it's one of the smartest ways to build something big from scratch. So if you're starting something new, don't be afraid to ask for the cash up front. Don't wait until everything is perfect. If your idea solves a real problem and you explain it clearly, people will believe in you, and they'll pay. Mindset 5. You don't need to own everything to build something big. Sometimes the smartest way to start is by borrowing space, equipment, ideas, or even land. You don't have to own everything yourself. You just need access to the things that help you launch. This doesn't mean cutting corners or doing anything dishonest. It means being resourceful. It means working with partners, sharing resources, and making deals that help both sides. If you can find someone who already has what you need, make a deal. If you can borrow instead of buy, do it. If you can build on something that already exists, use it. This mindset helps you move faster and spend less. It lowers the risk. It helps you test ideas before making big investments. But always be fair. Always keep your promises and never take what isn't yours. Build relationships, not just profits. Borrow wisely, grow carefully, and stay honest. That's how real entrepreneurs build great things, by being clever, respectful, and bold. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this video so far, give it a thumbs up. Feel free to share it with your family and friends. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to be the first to see our updates. All right, let's dive back into the video. Mindset 6. Don't ask for permission. If you want to do something bold, something that changes the game, waiting for permission will only slow you down. That's just how it works in most big companies. There are meetings, approvals, legal checks, and policies to follow. If your idea is new or different, you'll probably hear no before you hear yes. And even if they say yes, it might take months to get it. But entrepreneurs, they don't wait. Look at Travis Kalanick and Garrett Camp, the guys behind Uber. Do you think they stopped to ask government officials, can we launch a taxi company without owning any taxis? Of course not. If they had, the answer would have been, no way, you're breaking the rules and threatening the old system. So what did they do instead? They just went ahead and built it. They saw the world not as it was, but as it could be. They didn't wait around for someone to hand them a green light. They turned the engine on and drove straight through the red tape. Now, let's be clear. Not everything Uber did was right. Some of it crossed ethical or legal lines. But the mindset itself, the belief that you don't need to ask permission to innovate, is powerful. Because here's the truth. Rules often follow innovation, not the other way around. So when the rules aren't clear or the system is stuck in the past, the real leaders take action. They test, they build, they solve real problems. And only after they've proven the idea works do the others catch up. Airbnb launched without asking hotel regulators. YouTube started without waiting for copyright laws to catch up. And cryptocurrency projects didn't wait for banking approvals. In each of these cases, the entrepreneurs didn't begin with the question, are we allowed to do this? They started with, is this valuable? Will it solve a real problem? And once they built something people loved, the rules had to adjust. If you want to lead, you must be willing to step into uncertainty. You must be okay with starting before you have all the answers. Because if you wait for approval, the window of opportunity may close. Now, let's be clear. Don't ask for permission doesn't mean break the law or ignore ethics. It means you shouldn't let fear or outdated systems stop you from pursuing your idea. Now, here's how to move boldly but wisely. Build a simple version of your idea. Try it with real people and get feedback. Don't wait for a boardroom meeting or official endorsement. Only focus on impact, not approval. Ask yourself this question: will this make life easier for someone? Will it save time, money, or effort? If yes, go build it. You don't need to cheat or exploit people to break ground. Do things the right way. Just don't let outdated rules slow down real progress. If you have an idea that you believe in, don't wait for someone to give you the go-ahead. Don't wait to be qualified. Don't wait for someone to say, it's your turn, because your turn is whenever you decide to take it. Entrepreneurs create change not by waiting, but by acting. So if you're sitting on an idea, wondering if you should go for it, this is for you. You don't need permission. You need courage. Start now. Build small, stay true, and lead the way. If anything in this sparks an idea within you, don't just think about it, act on it. Choose one mindset shift that stood out to you and apply it today, not later, not when it's convenient. Today, action is what separates people who grow from those who just consume content. And if you're serious about leveling up financially, mentally, and as a builder of your future, check out the next videos lined up for you. And don't forget to leave a comment if you want me to break down any part of this even further. And of course, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a lesson that could be the turning point in your financial journey. Because this isn't just about money, it's about building a life you don't have to escape from.